Welcome to Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City for Game 2 of the I-70 Interleague Series between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Kansas City Royals. Hi, everybody. Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler with you. The Cardinals won Game 1 last night, 11-3, forcing the Royals to use their bullpen for 7 2/3 innings. That means it's imperative that Luis Mendoza give Ned Yost a great start today.
Imperative? There are bigger words than that, especially coming from Ned, that he would really love. Now, my Kia's pitching report, we're going to exclamate, believe it. 1, 2, 3 in the first inning for Luis. Not only keep them off the board, but gain confidence after that first sinker down. See how many worms you can kill at the K here. Get them down, use your defense, repeat performance, 6 innings, 2 runs in his last performance against these Redbirds. That would be a wonderful sight for Ned Yost.
Mendoza will be challenged because the Cardinals are first in the National League in batting, first in runs scored. It's Kansas City against St. Louis coming your way next. This game is brought to you in high definition by Time Warner Cable, the official TV, internet, and home phone provider of the Kansas City Royals. Mike Matheny is the manager for the St. Louis Cardinals right now. They're 3 games out of first place in the National League Central. They are .500 on the road this year, 19 wins, 19 losses. And let's take a look at his starting lineup for Call. As an outstanding leadoff guy, has scored as many as 130 runs in a season. That was back with the Braves in 2003. Jay healthy again. Holiday, Beltran, Craig really solid in the middle. David Freese was the MVP of the World Series. Carpenter back healthy. Molina will get the day off, and Cruz will catch, and Descalso is a fine defender. He will bat 9th against Luis Mendoza, the big right-hander from Veracruz, Mexico.
All right, those are his numbers in 88 pitches against the Redbirds in his last performance. Now, really what Dave Island would love to see out of his starter today is to trust his stuff and keep the ball down. Try to keep it simple, throw him strikes. No free passes, because this team has been waiting to come out offensively. They did yesterday, but don't let them come out today, especially in the first inning. 1, 2, 3.
St. Louis, a veteran team for Cobb, 34 years of age, out of the Dominican Republic. Came in batting .289, facing Luis Mendoza, who is 28 years old and was the pitcher of the year in the Pacific Coast League last year, when he finally was able to get it, and had an outstanding season at 12-5 in the regular season, and won 2 more games in the playoffs and 2 more games when he was called up to the big league Royals.
Mendoza, along with his sinker, is going to mix in a slider, curveball, and a changeup. But yesterday's game, Mazzaro walked for Call. Don't do it.
Throws it right down the middle. The count is full, 3-2, as the Cardinals won 11-4. St. Louis sent 19 men to the plate in the first 2 innings and scored 10 runs, 4 in the first, 6 more in the second. Out of play.
That's it. Make him earn his way on. Don't want to set any kind of a negative tone by giving free passes. That opens up a door and a little light for the Redbirds.
A chopper, tough play for Escobar. Quick toss, got him. Nice play. Now our Ford around the horn defense for KC.
Okay, that was one ball right there that killed 2 worms. 2 hopper. That's his key. Use your defense. They've got a really solid defense out there. Eric Hosmer, wow. Let me just show you Escobar here. Okay, throws off of his right foot, but he's accurate right on it. You have to come get it on a speedy runner. You can't wait back. But Hosmer, throwing to that guy, those guys all have confidence because they know he's going to catch anything. They don't have to worry about throwing it right on the money.
22-year-old first baseman out of the state of Florida. Now John Jay back and healthy. He had come off a shoulder problem both in April and the month of May. They finally DL'd him and they came off the disabled list yesterday. He went 1 for 4, was also hit by a pitch and scored a couple of runs. Good breaking ball, and Jay was fortunate to foul it off the right side and down in the count 0-2.
Most pitchers all have a similar repertoire of pitches. Now they throw them differently at different times, but mainly 4-pitch guys, fastball, slider, curve change, but they all have a difference in their ability. And a ground ball sinker baller is designed to pitch to contact. You want them to hit it, but if you keep the ball down and it's sinking and moving down, then they hit the top half of the ball and you record more outs that way. That's Mendoza's key.
Comes back with a breaking ball, and Mendoza thought he had strike 3. He did not get Jay to swing at the one that was down, and he thought he might get a call here at the letters.
Boy, if John Jay takes a swing at that, he might hit a homer. That's a perfectly elevated pitch.
And that is a beautiful sinking fastball at 92 miles an hour that Jay swings and misses at. 2 outs here in the first inning.
Now we have seen Mendoza reach 94, but really that's a designed 4-seam fastball to raise the eye level of the hitter. And that's a good situational pitch, but he's good at 92. The ball sinks more. When you overthrow them, they stay straight.
Matt Holliday, the designated hitter today. This is why they like coming to play in the American League, a veteran club where they can give a guy a day off in the field. It was Beltran yesterday and Holliday today. Beltran is playing right field this afternoon. We have another 1 o'clock game tomorrow afternoon here at Kauffman Stadium. Lance Lynn against Jonathan Sanchez. Mendoza's got a good sinker in the first inning. Our time and temperature is brought to you by the parking spot. Just 77 degrees at the first pitch, 110. And there was a report that the temperature would be in the 90s. It would be a hot, humid afternoon. But Jeff Francoeur, the Royals right fielder, came running out of the dugout and goes, I could take this weather all day long.
No, it's good. Now, in the Northeast, I see some lightning bolts out there well beyond the left center field fence. But we're surrounded by it, but it's nice. It's bringing in some coolness here to just in time to heat it up for tomorrow.
Yeah, they say it will be temperatures near 100 tomorrow.
But you know, the wind is swirling. Earlier, the wind was blowing straight out to right field. Now it looks like it's swirling in, straight in from the right field foul pole.
Good battle between Matt Holliday, the veteran, and Luis Mendoza, the Kansas City right-hander. He knows he has to give his team a lot of innings in this game after Vin Mazzaro only went an inning and a third last night and gave up 7 runs. Holliday lifts it in the air, left side for Alex Gordon, who makes the catch. And a very impressive first inning for Luis Mendoza. He gets the Cardinals in order. A big hello to the men and women serving our country and watching this game on the American Forces Network, being watched by the U.S. military in 175 countries and ships at sea.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your service to us, and we hope you appreciate and enjoy the ball game today, if you have time.
The Royals are 8-8 in interleague play. Gordon will lead things off, then Betancourt, Butler, Hosmer, Francoeur, Moustakas, Escobar, Dyson, and Quintero, with Salvi Perez given today off. He will start tomorrow. Adam Wainwright, the tall right-hander, will throw for St. Louis. Delivers strike 1 to Gordon.
All right. Giddy up Gordo, 0 for 9. He's due. The worm will turn for Gordy. Get a hit. First inning, first things. Okay, he's given up 8 runs. Get soft on him. Go ahead. There's the knock.
He threw it into the runner. It looked like Wainwright. His spikes caught, and he fell backward as he tried to throw accurately to first base. But check it out again, Hud.
All right, get soft on a guy you haven't gotten a hit off of. There it is. That's a base hit. You can't assume if you're official scorer that they're going to make that play on him. That's a good bunt. Would have liked it towards the line a little more, but Wainwright, look at that right ankle. Yeah. Right ankle. Couldn't quite get his footing down. First inning, get his blood flowing. Get him off the mound. That's a really good play by Butler.
And Kyle goes down to visit with Alex Gordon. Looked like he got hit on the hand on that throw from Adam Wainwright.
So he earned himself his first hit. Okay, ball goes into the runner.
No, it did.
Yeah, it hit.
I thought it hit his hand, and that's why they're looking at it. But apparently, it clipped off Craig. And
okay, let's check it out with that super slow motion camera we got. Now let's see, maybe it caught a finger. It did. There it was. We found what happened. It hit his index finger on his glove hand, better than his throwing finger. So that's why you try to keep your fingers behind that bat. And super slow motion camera, that Foxmo camera is a beautiful thing that we were able to spot that out. Good work, fellas in the truck.
might have a bruise underneath that nail tomorrow.
It's possible, but it's a good thing it was on his glove hand, not his throwing finger.
Unieski Betancourt is the batter. Went 1 for 3 yesterday and had 2 walks as well. So Kansas City has a man on, and it is Gordon on the infield hit. Betancourt swings at the first pitch and lifts it in the air left side. Out goes for call, calling off the left fielder Carpenter, and makes the catch for out number 1. Let's take a look at St. Louis's defense.
All right, John Jay is back. It was evident that their center fielder was back when he played yesterday, and he robbed 2 Royals batters on balls to the track. He tracked them very easily. Alan Craig at first base, he's good to get back in there again, but this guy is what makes their defense go. John Jay.
Billy Butler steps up. Went 2 for 5 yesterday. And first pitch by Wainwright pushes him back. Wainwright received a no decision in his last start versus the Royals, and that was on June 17th when he hooked up with Mendoza, throwing 7 innings, allowing just 1 run.
Oh, he's good, and he's good at 90-91. He's got a sinker as well. He'll cut his fastballs. That play was a little close at first. Cuts his fastball, big curve. He'll use that curveball for out pitches when he needs it. Occasional change-ups to keep the left-handers honest.
Now the wind has swung around Hud and is pushing out towards left field.
Very timely for Billy Butler.
I mean, it is roaring like 15-20 miles an hour. Butler hitting .301 with 13 home runs and 42 RBIs. He had that huge hit last Sunday in the game that Wainwright pitched. He got a no decision because the Royals finally won it in 15 innings, 5-3. Billy swings and misses. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Very good breaking ball.
In a fastball count.
So when you pitch backwards a little bit, maybe, you know, that little off-speed pitch there, Billy was trying to do a little bit too much for that.
Back up the middle. They've got 2.
Boy, that's a heck of a play by Descalzo.
Carlos Beltran will lead things off for St. Louis. We are looking for our first run. Beltran, Craig, and David Freese. And as we take a look at our Toyota League leaders, only Joe Mauer has done a better interleague job than Carlos Beltran this year, who is batting .447 against the American League. Had a couple of hits in yesterday's win over Kansas City. Carlos, his first 2 times up, ripped a double and double again to drive in 4 runs. 2 in the first, drove in 2 more in the second.
You know, they've got to find some way to contain him. He's 8 for 19 in 4 games now versus the Royals, and he alone is doing the damage.
He was Kansas City's 2nd-round draft pick out of Puerto Rico back in 1995. Had 7 splendid seasons in Kansas City. He's a young man, just a terrific player in Puerto Rico. Grew up a shortstop, and in Little League, he said the first time he played center field, it was because the center fielder didn't show up for the game, so the manager said, "Hey, Carlos, could you play center?" And he goes, "I balked. I didn't want to. I love shortstop. Well, I went out there and patrolled the pasture in center field, and I didn't want to go back." That pitch misses down low. Tremendous athlete.
And he swings the bat, and it doesn't look like he has any effort at all. Very smooth. Go ahead and challenge him, but keep it down.
He does keep it down, and Hosmer will take care of it. Gets it to Mendoza, and that's a first out here in the 2nd inning. Join George Brett, Mike Sweeney, Jeff Montgomery, and other baseball legends for the Baseball All-Star Game Charity 5K and Fun Run presented by Nike. That's on July 8th. This family-friendly event will take fans of all ages through an all-star course in downtown Kansas City. Official all-star t-shirts and medals for all finishers, and 100% of the net proceeds support the fight against cancer. So sign up now at allstargame.com/5K. 100% of the proceeds to fight cancer. Here is Alan Craig. Good hitter. A great playoff last year. Belted 3 home runs. He has 8 in the regular season this year to go with a .311 batting average. Strike at the knees. Alan Craig has been battling a left hamstring problem this year. Had a tough time in Detroit. Just 1 hit in 12 at bats, so they gave him last night off.
Yeah, you know, sometimes mental breaks are good. Players don't want them, but managers that have been there and played, they understand the importance of just taking a day off. And, you know, you try to refresh the mental. We talked about Kevin Seitzer and the way he was working with his hitters on the Royals. And he talked more about detoxing their mental state. That means clearing the brain of anything. Clearing it out. Don't worry about where you're standing or anything. Just look for the ball and react. Keep it simple.
Boy, you sound like a Zen broadcaster.
Fizz, it's because the game is so demanding mentally to play it every day. And this man knows it, Dave Island. He's been the first-year pitching coach, but he's been with the Yankees. He pitched during his day. He understands that you have to be aggressive and you have to attack the strike zone, but you have to keep things simple. The same way pitching is hitting. Try not to overthink. Try not to try to be too cute. Just use what got you here. And for Mendoza, it's pounding the strike zone with that sinker. And I like his delivery. He's very smooth. Dave Island has these guys working to their best capabilities now by just some mental massaging.
Moustakas. 2 outs. For the guy who throws a good sinking fastball and keeps the ball down around the knees, you will expect a lot of ground outs. He's recorded 5 outs. 3 are by way of ground outs.
And you know, his secondary pitches are important, especially for the second and third time through the order. Got to bring that big curve in. He's got a good one. Slider. But tempo and rhythm is very important, along with the pitches and the location of the pitcher. You got to be able to keep keep your defense on their toes. And you know, you hear that when a sinker baller is pitching, but it's the truth. Having played defense behind sinker ballers before, it was nice that no one walked around the mound. I didn't have time to daydream. You stay focused.
That's up the middle, past Betancourt into center field. David Freese is on. First base hit for St. Louis.
Now Betancourt, he has really good hands. He will tell you that he should have had this play. Now, it was difficult, and it's a base hit for sure. But as good as his hands are, and I know how much pride he takes, that's what he'll tell you. He'll say, you know what? They gave him a hit, but I probably should have caught that. And that might be grading a little bit tough, but I'm just telling you how good his hands are.
Now Matt Carpenter. Matt back from the disabled list where he suffered a right oblique injury. He's one of their top hitting prospects out of Prosper, Texas. Outstanding star at Texas Christian University. One ball, one strike.
When he first came up, like a lot of hitters, he was a singles hitter. And when he made the team this year, Mark McGuire, their hitting coach for the Cardinals, he said, you know, in order for you to really fit in here and to help our team, you're going to have to start driving the ball. You're going to have to start hitting some alleys. You don't have to hit homers, but you got to start driving. Now, how do you do that? You use your legs, your base. Your base is where you get a lot of your power from. So you stand up maybe a little taller so you can leverage your lower half to go along with your hands and stand in there firm and use your hips to help you with your power. And you know, Carpenter, he's valuable. Now, he adds value with the ability to start hitting the ball in the gaps more, but he can play third base, first base. You can put him in the outfield. So really, if for a National League team and a manager, a guy like him, it's pretty important.
He started at first base yesterday. Today he is starting in left field. Mendoza with the 2-2 pitch. A little bit low. The count is full, 3-2. Next pitch will be Luis's 40th. Trying to get through the second inning. He would prefer to be right around 12 to 15 pitches per inning, even less than that. Get some early count outs, but St. Louis making him work.
They are, and a lot of 3-2 counts early in this one.
Hosmer has it. Inning over. No runs, one hit, one left. That young lady is Heidi Fierherm. After losing her daughter to cancer, Heidi created There's a Monkey in My Chair program as part of the Love Chloe Foundation. The program provides a stuffed monkey to sit in the seat of a sick child while they are away on treatment so they won't be forgotten by their classmates. A wonderful program, and she is sitting in the Buck O'Neil legacy seat. Of course, Buck had an enormous impact on the world of baseball and the lives of everyday people he touched. Heidi, thank you very much for your work. Adam Wainwright will face the Royals' Eric Hosmer. Jeff Francoeur and Mike Moustakas here in the bottom half of the second inning. Moose will be hitting third in this position, so we'll have two left-handers going up against Wainwright with Hosmer and Moustakas.
Okay, Wainwright 1-1 with a 2.75 in his last three starts. He's starting to show signs of the 20-game winner that he was not last year but the year before. He was out with Tommy John, and you hear, I love Tommy John, but you hear his name every day now.
Pulled to the right side. Craig will take care of Hosmer as he reached for a pitch that was not a strike, and that is out number one. Royals fans, be sure to stop by and pick up your 4 for $44 deal at Taco Bell. This ticket package includes 4 Royals game tickets, 4 hats, and 4 Taco Bell combo meals, all for only $44. This deal is good for any Royals home game beginning June 28th. You can get your tickets at participating Taco Bell locations or by going to royals.com/Taco Bell.
So anyway, Wainwright, he's starting to get it together, and you can't go up there looking for a particular pitch because he's not that predictable. He's going to mix his pitches well, keep the ball down. He's not overpowering, but he's a smart pitcher. And to beat him, when you get a runner in scoring position, you got to really focus on shortening your swing and getting that run home, or you won't beat him.
Francoeur swings and misses. Now he is down in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes, and he is now 15 months removed from Tommy John surgery, and the doctors will tell you it usually comes back around 19 months where you're back to 100%, and your secondary pitches are usually the last to command. Punches that one to short. Easy play for call. 2 outs.
So, you know, typically you can say a year, but everyone reacts differently. Like Danny Duffy, he went out early, so maybe we will see him about this time next year. But Paulino, it's not, you know, safe to say we're going to see him a year from now. Well, maybe by the end of the year he could be a boost to the rotation. But, you know, those are surgeries really that you should just take a kid after he's thrown a certain amount of innings, a young player, whether he's hurt his elbow or not, and just put him under the knife and just go ahead and give him another ligament. Because eventually in this game, you keep twisting that arm and that elbow. It's an unnatural motion. You're going to have some problems in that elbow. Just a matter of time.
Here is Mike Moustakas, and Wainwright delivers and teases Moustakas to reach for it, and he punches it foul. 0-2. The Royals with 1 hit. It was the bunt base hit by Alex Gordon in the first. St. Louis has 1 hit, single by David Freese in the second. Moose with 10 home runs, 33 RBIs. In there, strike 3 called, and Wainwright looks terrific in the bottom of the second inning. We'll have a special guest when we come back, one of Kansas City's finest golfers. Back in Kansas City, the interleague series continues, and Tom Watson threw out the first pitch talking with Jeff Francoeur, who is a huge golf fan. And of course, Tom Watson, you were able to throw a strike to Jeff Francoeur, and you found out that he loves golf.
Well, I didn't throw a strike. I threw it in the dirt.
But you got him to swing and miss.
Well, actually, I put a lot of good stuff on it here. It's not like Mendoza here. Come on, right at him. Come on, back. There it is.
And Dyson is able to reach up and make the catch. And a great call by Tom Watson.
I'm a baseball fan. I love
You have been a
baseball.
Royals fan forever.
My first baseball game here was Kansas City Athletics in Old Municipal Stadium. I think I was 5 years old. My granddad, Sir Cedar Ridge, brought me down. We're playing the Boston Red Sox. Ted Williams.
You saw Ted Williams
play. Williams play. And Ted jumped out. Now, there's a long story, but
well, we're willing to wait. We have 9 innings.
All right. Well, the story was there was a guy in the back and sitting just at the top of the dugout there yelling, Teddy. And he did that the whole game till about the 5th inning. And all of a sudden there's a big commotion, and I see Williams, Ted, the greatest player in his time, jump over the top of the dugout, climb up there, and go after the fan.
You're kidding me.
I couldn't believe
That's your first one of your first moments.
That was my first baseball game here. Of course, he got beat by the Red Sox, but
he went after the fan.
He went after the fan, but
and then
from
that moment on, you decided to make golf your future.
No, but I love baseball. Baseball is the reason I started playing golf.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Explain.
I got cut from the midget B team when I went out for it when I was 9 years old and didn't have anything to do for the summer. I was playing in the midget C when I was 8 years old for the Hen House Chicks.
All right.
And all my friends were in this other team, and I went out for the other team and couldn't make it and got cut and didn't play baseball that summer. But fortunately enough, I had a place to go play golf. My dad is a member of a club, and I started playing quite a bit more golf that summer. Played in some competition for the first time. And took off from there. So baseball is the reason that I became a golfer.
Tom, I'll say 8 major victories, 5 Open championships, 2 Masters. Certainly all the galleries that followed you, there were some hecklers out there. Tom, how did you deal with the fans?
Well, there weren't too many hecklers. There are a few, but no big deal. You know, the partisanship's part of especially the Ryder Cup. When you play against Europe in the Ryder Cup. But normally, playing tournaments, you didn't have any fans yelling at you, miss it, or anything like that. You didn't have that happen.
Now, ball players, they get a lot of things yelled at them while the pitch is on the way.
Boy,
and the ball's moving.
They?
It's a round bat. Now, why does a golfer have to have quiet? And the ball's sitting on a tee, and you have to have quiet. You can't have anybody yell, Noonan or miss.
Well,
why? Why is that?
Let me ask you this question. When you're playing golf, would you rather have people yelling at you, or would you rather just have a beautiful, serene, quiet time out in the golf course or walking in the park for 4 hours?
You would need it quiet.
Well, it's kind of nice to have things quiet. I mean, one of the amazing things that happens.
It's a gentleman's game.
One of the things that happened to me, I'll never forget, 1977, playing the British Open, Turnberry, the last hole. Jack Nicklaus makes this 40-foot putt for birdie in the last hole.
Luis Mendoza working with Rafael Furcal.
And he makes this putt. The crowd just absolutely went berserk. Just wouldn't quiet down. And I went down and I said, enough of this. I put my ball marker down, put the ball down. And then I proceeded to get ready to putt. Jack put his hands up, and with 25,000 people there, just absolutely with dead stone silence.
Wow.
And it was something that that could happen, and that's the beauty of our sport. We have a heck of a sport. Ted Williams did have an ongoing problem with Sam Snead. Sam Snead was one of the great old-time players, golfers, and Ted and Sam are always arguing which sport was the toughest. And I'm sure you've heard this. He said, Ted said to Sam, that ball's just sitting there. It's not doing anything. You're just sitting still. All I have to do is make a nice swing at it and hit the ball. And Sam said, yeah, that's right, Ted. But we don't have to play our foul. We have to play our foul balls.
That's right.
Good comeback. And that ball is struck up the middle. A base hit for Jay. So with 2 outs, Call walks. Jay singles up the middle. Tom, I've got to ask you, where were you during the '85 World Series? Did you get the chance to go to the I-70 series? How many games did you see?
I watched, I don't know how many games I attended. I went to both the 80 and the 85 World Series. I went up to Philadelphia to watch the 80 series up there, every game up there. Here I didn't go to every game here, but I was at the last 2 games, at the 6th and the 7th game.
Tom, can I take you back? You said the British Open, and I thought about wind. Kansas City, I went out golfing here one time this summer with Jeff Montgomery, my comrade here, famous closer for the Royals, a good golfer. And the wind blew 30 miles an hour. And I told him, man, my game is not good when there's no wind. When that 30-mile-an-hour wind's blowing, it's hard to play golf. But Monty told me that's why Tom Watson was so good. He grew up in Kansas City playing in the wind. Was that one of the reasons why you were so successful in tough conditions?
The Lord gets pretty thick. Probably the reason I played well in the wind is I could putt the eyes out of the ball. Bottom line, if you make the putts, when you're struggling, everybody's struggling to hit the greens, hit good shots because the wind is blowing the ball all over the place. But once you get the ball on the green, I was the best at making putts to save pars and things like that.
And when you admit that, Hud, you know you're good.
No doubt. What was it like battling Jack Nicklaus all them years? I mean, you read about Tiger Woods nowadays, but in the 70s and 80s, you were the best in the world. What was that like? Share that with us.
Jack was the best. And my dream when I was a kid playing golf here in Kansas City, when I won the Kansas City men's match play at age 14. And that, as I said, is probably the most important tournament I ever won in my life because it gave me the dream to becoming a professional golfer. And that dream started out by, we all play acted. So I've got to make this putt to beat Jack Nicklaus or Arnold Palmer. Of course, Jack was the villain back in those days. Arnold was my hero, and Jack was the villain because Jack came up and just kicked Arnold's butt thoroughly starting in the middle 60s. And we always play acted, pretending you were a player. And then, fortunately, I got to the point where I got on the tour and could continue my dream and just work. I always had the work ethic that said, got it.
Sorry, Dyson's going to throw him out right here.
Dyson's going to bring it to third instead, and Call scores the game's first run. St. Louis with a 1-0 lead as Holiday comes through with 2 outs.
Tom Watson is with us, and
I'm bad luck.
No,
I'm
you're
get out
not.
of the booth here.
No. I was praying for
And
a
we're
foul
doing
ball,
well
so-
without me in the booth.
No. We got to have greatness up here. But you know, you make a mistake to a hitter like that, it's gonna cost you. And that's like missing a close putt, right? Or something you would think was a gimme, and then you lose the tournament.
Well, you know,
How did you deal with failure?
you dealt by failure by hating it and making yourself better by learning from it. The great Bobby Jones said, "I didn't learn anything in victory. I only learned in defeat." And I tell this to kids today. He said, "What'd you learn?" Like Rory McIlroy when he lost the Masters with a 6-shot lead or a 7-shot lead. I said, "What'd you learn?" And he learned how his body didn't work with all the pressure on it.
Beltran skies one to right field, but that wind pushing it back. Francoeur under it, makes the catch. The inning is over. Tom Watson, thank you very much for sharing your time with us. Wonderful to see you.
Thank you.
Tom, raise the roof.
Thanks,
He's
Rex.
in the house. Thanks,
Appreciate
Tom. Great opening pitch, too, by the way.
The Cardinals with a 1-0 lead over Kansas City, and the third installment of T-Shirt Tuesday is this Tuesday against Tampa Bay. The first 10,000 fans will receive a vintage powder blue Royals T-shirt presented by Farmland. Gates open at 5:30, so get there early. Go to Royals.com/T-Shirt Tuesday or call 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. Bottom three we go. That means bottom of the order: Escobar, Dyson, Quintero. Wainwright has been excellent in his first 2 innings. Mendoza equaled him until that base hit by Matt Holliday that knocked in for call.
You know, Fizz, I can't. I think I need to take the rest of the inning off, because having that great golfer that I've always admired come up here and actually get to interview him, I'm nervous. I'm coming down. I'm a little bit frazzled right now.
Totally understandable. Perhaps you need a Miller.
Oh, just give me the sound of that baby pouring in there, and I'll be happy.
Miller Lite. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Gerard Dyson, who's been with the club the last couple of months after his recall from the minor leagues on April 27th. Lorenzo Cain getting healthy down in northwest Arkansas, and there's a first pitch breaking ball at 71 miles an hour for strike one. Wainwright looks really good. I mean, he has been one of baseball's best. 39 wins over 2 seasons from 2009 through 2010, then had the Tommy John surgery February 28th last year and missed the entire season. Dyson to right field, and picking it off just before it hits the turf is Carlos Beltran. 2 outs.
Okay. Ooh,
that's a hit.
I mean, you know, that looked like it got a little grass underneath that glove, but the only way we could see it is with a replay like that. So what you do when you're a fielder and you know you trapped it, you pick it up like you caught it and you show it off. You watch him. See, he's going to hold it there, and he sold it to the umpire, Joe West.
Quintero rolls this one to first. It curls foul at the last moment for a strike.
Or Sam Holbrook, who's at second base umpire. Joe West is at first base. Those guys go out and they make the call the best they can see it. And until they expand the replay in baseball, which probably will happen here in the next few years, they're going with the human error. But so how can you tell that's a trap ball from the naked eye? You can't tell. That ball hit, looked like just a little bit in the grass. So look, you don't blame the umpires for that. That's the human element of the game that a lot of people love.
Quite frankly, you really can't blame Mendoza. He made a mistake on the pitch to Holliday. You talked about that, but we do not forgive the umpires for making mistakes occasionally. Quintero swings at a great breaking ball from Adam Wainwright, and the inning is over.
Joel Goldberg back at Kauffman Stadium, where we flash back to 2010. That will be Jeff Francoeur in a New York Mets uniform. Carlos Beltran was a teammate, and the pitcher that day was Adam Wainwright. A lot of history between these two Georgia natives, Jeff Francoeur and Adam Wainwright. They didn't grow up near each other. Wainwright grew up in a different part of the state, but both of them were drafted by the Braves. Wainwright in 2000, Francoeur in 2002. They were brief teammates in the minors, and Frenchie says what he remembers about Wainwright is that he hadn't really put it all together in Atlanta, but when he added a very good curveball, things changed in St. Louis. More interesting, guys, they're both around 3 handicaps, and those golf outings in the offseason can be extremely competitive. And Frenchie saying, hope to take his money this offseason because he's had some time off due to that Tommy John.
Joel, Tom Watson told us that Jeff Francoeur could not stop talking about some of the tournaments that he had played in and the courses that they had seen each other at. And Tom Watson, a very big fan of Jeff Francoeur as well.
Well, I think it's like those entertainers, comedians last night, and any of the musicians or whoever we see, and they all want to play a little baseball or talk about baseball, and the baseball guys want to talk about the entertainers and the golf, especially when they're good at it. Frenchie, I think Frenchie's probably the best golfer on this Royals team.
Yeah.
But can I throw something in there that you can only play baseball at this level for a certain amount of years, and you can play golf and act and make millions the rest of your life. So it's a very small window these ball players have, but by golly, it's a fun gig. Just ask Frenchie. He'll tell you.
Here is Mendoza against Alan Craig, and the pitch is low. The count moves to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mendoza has allowed the Cardinals 3 hits in the game, a single with 2 out in the 2nd inning, and then a single by Holiday with 2 out in the 3rd inning that scored for Call, who he had walked.
The way Wainwright's pitching, man, that 1 run might hold up for a while.
Well, that's why you just want to keep it close, and that's what the Royals did against Wainwright the last time they faced him. And they were only trailing by 1 with 2 out and 2 strikes on Billy Butler in the 9th inning when Butler went deep and tied the game, and the Royals went on to win in 15 on Betancourt's home run. But boy, he really looks good through 3. Space the minimum.
Mendoza not doing too shabby himself, although he has expended 64 pitches. He's facing a very good offense here and has only allowed 3 hits. Now the walk, I talked about the free passes, they end up hurting you, and sure enough, that was the run that scored for Call when he walked in that last inning. But look at the location of that sinker. That's a beauty. Good spot.
Rex, what is the difference between a pitcher whose pitch count gets way up there and a guy who is so pitch efficient, who gets so many early count outs?
Is the reputation. If you coming into a game against a starter that you know throws strikes, you already automatically tell yourself, I'm going to be hacking. I'm going to get him before he gets me. There's your early count outs. Now, if you face a guy that's a little bit wild, you look at the stats, then you can say, well, look, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to make him expend pitches. So that's the key. Throwing strikes, no matter what kind of pitcher you are, to keep that that offense off of you. And hope that explained it.
Wainwright has thrown a total of 29 pitches through 3 innings. Meantime, Mendoza has thrown 67 now through 3 1/3. How much has to do with the youth of the offense? I mean, this is a veteran St. Louis offense, and the Royals, very young offense, dead last in walks.
Youth wants it now. Experience says I'll wait later, and that's better. You need patience. You need to make the pitcher expend his pitches and wait for your pitch. But when you're young, you want to get it right away. And sometimes you fall into the pitcher's trap.
David Freese walks on 5 pitches.
Boy, and I'll tell you, Rob Drake in his 5th year umpiring, it's like he's got a pretty tight zone. That's a good pitch there. That's on the inner half. It crossed the plate in the middle of it, but didn't give it to him. So Mendoza's shaking his head a little bit right now, and he's saying, okay. And Quintero's even saying something to him that was a pretty good pitch. You got to let that go. You have to keep your composure and not show any body language of discouragement or failure, or the offense will feed off of that. Keep your composure and roll a ground ball here.
Here is Matt Carpenter, and he takes strike one. How much of that might have to do with reputation? Wainwright's reputation versus Mendoza's reputation.
You have to just let that go, like I'm trying to let go of Tom Watson being in our booth. Okay? His reputation is unbelievable. One of the greatest golfers there ever was. And you can't let that get to you to where you can't succeed.
Hosmer gets the double play. Nicely done by Eric.
Less is more. Nice pitch by Mendoza. Kept his composure.
Royals baseball is brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealer. By the state of Missouri Tobacco Quit line, dial 1-800-QUIT-NOW. And by AT&T, the world's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler, and Joel Goldberg with you. Quality pitch made by Luis Mendoza to get the inning-ending double play.
You know, I'd like to see a few more baseball players enter that Dancing with the Stars. Okay, because baseball players have tremendous feet. You see Eric Hosmer over there at first base with his footwork. He shuffled his feet, touched that base, and look at Escobar saying, "Come to Poppy. I got you. You're out."
I must admit, Hud, we've been working together almost a dozen years as Gordon slips one foul left side. And there are times, even today, where I have no idea where you're going. And when you mentioned Dancing with the Stars, I was going, no, where is he taking this?
Watch the footwork. Watch the footwork of our first baseman. This guy, the reason he is so good at first is he's got great feet. Any infielder will tell you your footwork. Watch his feet now. Watch it. Okay, comes over real quick, has a two-step. Okay, that's a one-step, two-step to the base, off balance and throws. A strike right to Escobar. Watch his footwork. 1, 2, 3. Think he couldn't win Dancing with the Stars? They would teach him a little bit of stuff there. His partner would, and I think he's a winner.
Would you go country western music, or would you go old school Sinatra?
Oh, I'm going to say now Escobar could be a salsa winner, man. He's got to do the salsa. No question, Escobar. Now Hosmer, I'm not sure. He looks a little more eloquent. He might have to do some kind of waltz or something like that. But look, I think they should.
We will
find a
pass that
baseball
along
player.
to Eric
Steve,
Hosmer
your
because he's one of your big fans.
How come we don't have a baseball player that's won that contest? We've seen football guys win it.
The 3-2 to Gordon is inside, and that's a good start for Kansas City. Gordon tied his career high and tied a Royals record with 5 walks last Sunday.
How many times have you heard your Little League coach tell you, a walk's as good as a hit, kid? Get on base. So Gordon's now on base twice with a knock and a walk.
And the batter will be Unieski Betancourt, who popped up to short his first time up. Then Billy Butler is waiting on deck, hit into an inning-ending 4-3 double play.
Uni swung at the first pitch last time. Don't do it here.
He does not. Takes high ball 1.
Okay, now you're not going to ask Uni to sacrifice, although it wouldn't be a bad play to move him over with the meat of the order coming and off of Wainwright. You got to really get this guy when you can. So execute, get him over, because Betancourt can swing the ball. I mean, can swing the bat. He can pop one out of here, especially with that wind now gushing to left. So 2 runs are better than 1.
Right now, I think Matheny thinks the Royals might be running. Perhaps a hit and run could be on.
Could be, but don't discount the pop that this guy has in his bat and the fact that he can throw some out of the yard or hit him. He could throw them out too, but he's good middle in. Any mistakes in there, he can jump one. Wainwright has given up 8 home runs this year, 4 to lefties, 4 to righties.
Last time Wainwright pitched against the Royals, Chris Getz got the start. That was the game he was injured. Betancourt came off the bench and played the next 14 innings and got the clutch hit in the 14th that gave KC the lead before Molina tied it, and then Betancourt hit the 2-run home run that gave the Royals a 2-run win.
Ooh, that was his pitch.
And the wind is pushing that towards the foul line. Carpenter is able to make the catch for out number 1.
Okay, he had his pitch there, just got under it. Look where this was located. Right there where he likes it. He missed it. Up and in the fastball, just a little bit underneath it. But that ball was saying hit me out of the yard. Tony Cruz behind the plate for Wainwright today, giving Yadier Molina a rare day off. That means that Matheny wants Yachty to be in there tomorrow.
And if you heard Joe Goldberg in our pregame show, he talked about the Royals' Salvi Perez and the way Ned Yost will work him. He's giving Salvi today off. He'll start tomorrow and Monday and then get Tuesday off and start again Wednesday against Tampa Bay before the Royals hit the road and have Thursday off. They want to make sure that Salvi is completely healthy the rest of the season. So valuable to this team offensively and defensively.
Yeah, you got to ease him in.
Butler leads the team in RBIs with 42. He has the count his way 2-0. But last time Wainwright had a 2-0 count. Butler was thinking fastball and he threw him a breaking ball away and Butler swung over the top.
He put a little wrinkle on it. Slider, just enough to get him to do that. But now Billy's a smart hitter. He's going to say, okay, look, he's going to try to off-speed me. There it was. He was waiting. He knew better. He had a better rip on it that time. So you can pattern a pitcher. You asked me earlier about guys, you know, about their reputation. And so, you know, hitters can make adjustments from at-bat to the next at-bat. And Billy just tried to do that there. Knew he wasn't going to get a cookie. That was going to be an off-speed pitch for a strike.
Three and one. If he'll go 2-0 off speed, he'll go 3-1 off speed.
You got that right. But still, Billy, he's wanting to put the ball in play with a gap. And with Gordon at first base, let's see what he's got on his fingers. Okay, it looked to me like I saw some tape, or maybe he painted his nails, Tony Cruz, but
3-2. Came right back with a heater
on the outer half. He doesn't have anything going. Must be me still seeing stars from Tom Watson being in here an inning and a half ago.
You're just going to have to let that go.
I know. I'm trying to, partner.
Center field. Gordon had to put the brakes on about 2/3 of the way to second base. And he retraces his steps. We were talking about guys with Tommy John surgery, but who has had the best career after Tommy John surgery? You, the fan, can vote by texting 432-432 and entering the keyword Royals. Burnett, Carpenter, Dempster, and Hudson have all had Tommy John in the past, and all have had pretty good success.
And you know, these are active players here, but how about Tommy John himself? They named the surgery after. Tommy had that procedure and pitched well into his 40s.
Well, after Carpenter had it and then came back, and what he did against Roy Halladay last year in the playoffs was sensational. That 1-0 game was as good as it gets. It was like Jack Morris against the Minnesota, or for the Minnesota Twins in their World Championship.
Hey, how about Joakim Soria? He had one. He's up for his second one now, but he had one. He had 4 really good years.
One of the best closers in Royals history, and also one of 4 Royals who will have Tommy John surgery this year. Duffy, Soria, and Wood have already had Tommy John, and Felipe Paulino is waiting for a second opinion, but very likely could have it done and be out until after the All-Star break next season.
Maybe our next question should be, how many guys have had 2 Tommy John procedures and done well after the second one? And
Al Broughton is shaking his head on that one because he's going to have to dig up the information for you.
Because, you know, there's not a lot of guys that have undergone 2 of them and came back and done a lot that I know of. Hosmer trying to pull Wainwright's pitches. He needs to kind of shorten up a little bit and use the opposite field.
foul. Some of the guys who have had Tommy John in the past and come back, well, Ryan Madsen had it this year on April 11th, and here are the other ones this year. Scott Baker, Brian Wilson, the great closer for San Francisco, Lukey, Beachy, and Drabek. And Brandon of the Braves, what a shame because he was having such a fantastic season to his start.
You never know when the injury bug's going to bite you. But you know what? It bites everyone, Fizz, if you play long enough. So you have to learn how to endure that, and that can be painful for a lot of guys. Not the physical pain, but it's the mental anguish of not being out there, giving your job to somebody else.
Hosmer reached for that one and punches it to second base. He's the final out. The Royals squander the leadoff walk by Alex Gordon, and Wainwright shuts them down. St. Louis leads this I-70 Interleague Series matchup 1-0. Fans join us at the ballpark this Monday for Water Awareness Night. The first 10,000 fans will receive a reusable Royals water bottle presented by Grundfos. The Royals take on the Tampa Bay Rays at 7:10. You can get tickets by going to Royals.com or calling 1-800-6-ROYALS. Stay hydrated on a hot afternoon. It started cool and overcast, but the clouds are gone and the sun has broken through, and it is a beautiful afternoon in Kansas City. Game 2 of this 3-game Interleague Series. Royals lost last night 11-4 and trail 1-0. Mendoza has to remain near perfect to battle with Wainwright. Bottom of the order, Tony Cruz, Daniel Descalso, and Rafael Furcal.
Okay, Mendoza, he's throwing to a hungry hitter in Tony Cruz. Now, he had a good breakfast, I'm sure, so he's not hungry, but he's hungry to produce. You get one hit in your once-a-week start, you've done something well. You call a good game and a win, that's a bonus too. But this guy doesn't get a lot of playing time with Yadier Molina behind the plate, and so he tries to make the most of his starts. He's a very good catch-and-throw guy, and really, he has a good upside as a hitter, but it's not going to be seen with the Cardinals. Usually you have a veteran backup.
A one-hopper to Escobar. 1 out. Fans get downloads up to 50 megabits per second with Time Warner Cable Ultimate Internet. Wainwright's top velocity 92 miles an hour. Mendoza one more at 93. He's allowed the Cardinals only 3 hits, and remember, this was a team that had 17 hits last night with 5 players multi-hit games. Past Escobar into center field. Descalso is on, so he remains hot. He has 6 base hits in his last 12 times up.
Descalso, short, quick swing. He's a pesky guy. He's a guy, you know, he really can distract you. He's not going to beat you with a big home run, but the way he plays the game, he's like a mosquito that keeps flying around your head at nighttime when you're sleeping. You hear him, but you know you want to swat him, you want to get him out of the way, but he's hard to contain. He's a pest.
He's a mosquito that won't let you sleep at night.
Have you ever had that?
Oh yeah, I just didn't. You know, when I walked past Daniel Descalso today, I didn't think of that.
Well, you know,
what's wrong with me?
He's exactly like that, and it causes headaches for pitchers.
Into right center field. Descalso will make it to third. And Furcal has been a major pest as well, with a walk and now a base hit. St. Louis has runners in the corners and just 1 out, and you've got speed at first base as well.
When you pitch to contact, this is going to happen. You take your chances. That's all you can do. Better have them earn it than give them free passes. So immediately you turn the page. You don't get upset about it. Nothing you can do. Look at him how he takes that turn. It's the inside part of the base, and Descalso's going to hit third base and look for the ball. The ball will dictate whether you can advance or not. You got to pick up the ball always as a base runner.
John Jay singled his last time up. Mendoza does have to worry about Furcal, who has excellent speed, 9 steals this year. First pitch backs off Jay.
Okay, good spot to set up the sinker away. And he wants to put Jay in the lane. And that's the double play lane. John Jay's grounded into 3 already this year, so it can be done.
Two balls and no strikes.
Okay, that's a nice pick by Quintero. He picked it and trapped it under his armpit. No chance for Descalso to come home. Little things that catchers do in situations like this can really help you win a game. Staying in front of the ball, blocking it right, using good technique.
This is where Mendoza somehow has to minimize the damage. He cannot allow St. Louis to have a big inning the way Wainwright is pitching. Base hit. Two nothing St. Louis.
Okay, they're finding holes. Off speed pitch a little out front. John Jay knew he knocked in a stake right there. Dave Island's going to come to the mound now and just tell him to stay focused and not get don't panic here. You're getting the ground balls. They're just finding holes right now. Hang in there. Stay confident.
That is 3 straight ground balls. The one by Descalso barely got by Escobar at short. The one by Furcal was by Betancourt into center field, and now John Jay split the gap between first and second.
3 words that Dave Island uses best. Trust your stuff. And that's what he was telling him right there. Trust your stuff. Stay right there.
Mendoza threw a great pitch to Descalso, a sinker that was down and away, and Descalso with a great at bat to line it to center field just past Escobar. Now Matt Holliday, who's one of their top RBI guys with 43 this year, knocked in his 44th, his last time up in the 3rd. He is also a lane ball candidate. He has grounded into 7 double plays this year. As a matter of fact, St. Louis, yes, they're first in the National League in batting, first in runs scored, but they are also first in the most double plays, hitting into 61 this year. Two and 0. Herrera warming in the Royals bullpen. Cardinals with a run in the 3rd, 1 so far in the 5th, and now Mendoza falling behind Matt Holliday 3-0 with Beltran and Craig to follow, so it's not going to get any easier.
You know, and with Dave Island just coming out and talking to Mendoza, you know, I'm not so sure that the visit by Quintero was really necessary right there, but I think he's just telling him, hey, look, you know, hit my target here. Or he could be telling Mendoza 3-0, Holliday could be hacking. Be careful.
Keep it down. Holliday, a veteran hitter. Gets a strike across.
You don't want to give him a free pass with Beltran on deck. They're still in this game, but they could soon be out of it with one bad located pitch here. Don't let Beltran up with the bases full.
Off of Moustakas, who thought it was in his glove. Turning and coming home is Furcal. Making it all the way to third is John Jay.
Wow, now you don't see that very often. Moose usually is money. Anything hit at him, he's going to catch. And it's a tough spot. It's the hot corner. So you got to give him a pass every so often. Look, he's not going to be perfect. But this ball was scorched at him. It's to his right. He tried to get in front of it. He thought he had it in his glove, and it just went off him. It's tough on contact to be able to turn your glove over to the backhand side and make that play. So the degree of difficulty was not exactly easy on that play.
So Mendoza this afternoon is done, and Kelvin Herrera will come out of the bullpen. It's our Chevy call to the bullpen because the Royals need a strikeout right here. Luis Mendoza only lasts 4 1/3 innings. St. Louis has a 3-0 lead with runners on first and third and 1 out. Herrera is facing the very dangerous Carlos Beltran, who has torched American League pitching staffs this year. Kelvin Herrera comes out of the bullpen to try and throw water on the fire that St. Louis has started in this inning. 4 straight singles. Descalso, Furcal, Jay, and Holiday. And the pitch is low. 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, he has the ability. Ned's saying to himself, I want to stay in this game. I got a scud thrower out there that throws 100. Let's bring him in and try to shut this thing down. Got their best hitter, one of the best in the National League up here. It's important we get this out here.
They have to start throwing strikes as he falls behind 2-0, comes back with a swing and a miss.
Off a changeup that was elevated. Typically that changeup's down low and it's very difficult to hit after a 98, 99 mile an hour fastball.
Kelvin worked around a 1-out single for a scoreless 8th inning in last night's 11-4 loss. Beltran, base hit. Boy, they are finding the holes here in the 5th inning. 4-0 Cardinals.
Five straight hits, and they all have eyes on it, on the ball. It's finding holes. That was an off-speed pitch. He threw him a little changeup down. But a hot hitter is going to hit it. Continues to rake up on the Royals, does Beltran. 9 for 21 he is in the 5 games now against the Royals, Beltran.
Here is Alan Craig 0 for 2 with a ground out to third and a strikeout. Fastball at 98 miles an hour is strike 1 to Craig. Looked like Herrera was trying to entice Beltran to hit a ground ball by throwing back-to-back changeups. He did, but struck it between first and second. And now a swing and a foul back, strike 2. We knew this St. Louis offense was outstanding coming in, even though they were held down against Detroit. Before last night, St. Louis hit only .228 with no home runs and 3 RBIs in their trip to Detroit. Then they had 17 hits last night, and they have 8 in a little more than 4 innings of this one. A blooper towards left. Gordon says he has it. He does. No advance by the St. Louis base runners. Here comes David Freese, the star of the World Series and the entire playoffs last year. I mean, he had 21 postseason RBIs, which is a record. Had that dramatic home run in Game 6 which allowed them to play Game 7 against Texas. Freese takes low and in, and he is a local guy from St. Louis, went to Lafayette High School and then to the University of Missouri, and did not play baseball. He just wanted to be a student before falling in love with the game again, going to Merrimack Junior College and then on to South Alabama.
Well, you know, what he did last season, and, you know, the season's building up to that, having to persevere through injuries and wait his turn to get to the big leagues, it really hasn't set in on him. He might say, yeah, you know, I had the off season to kind of ponder what all happened. It won't sit in on him till he's retired.
Ground ball short. Escobar gets the force, but the damage has been done. 3 runs, all charged to Mendoza. 4-0 Cardinals.
Joel Goldberg back at Kauffman Stadium. Left-hander Francisli Bueno, a 31-year-old, warming up. His contract was purchased today as Ramon Colon designated for assignment. Bueno is from Cuba, actually played on the same team with Brian Pena when they were kids in Havana City, about 15, 16 years old, and a junior national teammate of Pena's, Kendrys Morales, Yunel Escobar, to name a few. Now, here is the interesting thing, guys, on Bueno. He's got 1 game in his career in the big leagues, August 13th, 2008. It was a game where in the 8th inning, he wasn't in yet. Alfonso Soriano stood admiring what he thought was a homer. It hit the wall for a single. Bueno came in and in the 9th inning threw behind his head, was ejected, suspended, but he'd already been sent to the minor leagues. This is his first time back, 3-game suspension. It's on appeal right now, guys.
Very interesting. Thank you very much, Joel. Meantime, Adam Wainwright has been sensational for St. Louis.
Joel's always got an interesting nugget for us.
He does his homework, no question about it. From what he told me, he really studied up on Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, and he will have the test after the ball game. Batter is Jeff Francoeur, then Mike Moustakas, Alcides Escobar here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Wainwright, one of the top right-handers in the game, and he's coming back, we've talked about, from Tommy John surgery. He had his best game since coming back from the 2011 surgery on May 22nd, throwing a complete game 4-0 shutout over San Diego. Allowed just 4 hits in that one. He has allowed 1 hit thus far in this one, starting the 5th. Let's take a look at our sprint numbers. Best career after Tommy John surgery. 58% of our audience went with Chris Carpenter of the Cardinals. Dempster with 24%, then the Pittsburgh Pirates right-hander at 12%. And Francoeur is tagged out by Adam Wainwright, 1 out. The fan vote to pick the starters for this year's All-Star game in Kansas City is almost over. Make sure you vote for all of your favorite Royals players. Play your part by going to Royals.com/vote to crown a Royal. Alex Gordon, who was the Royals Player of the Year last season, very deserving to go last year. Had a great second half and wound up hitting .303, but the Royals representative would be a guy from the bullpen, Aaron Crow.
It's because it's a popularity contest, number 1, and number 2, you have to have a good start to get on that team. If you're going to get voted, you got to be, you know, one of the marquee names.
Rex, because it means so much now that the winner gets home field advantage, the National League or the American League, whoever wins the All-Star game gets home field advantage in postseason. Do you think the decisions on who plays should be up to the fans?
Yes, because it's always the fans' game. You can't take that away from the fans. I think they should do it. They're continuing to find other ways to get players in there. They're allowing an extra vote for an extra guy, and each manager can pick another guy. So they are allowing certain ways to get certain guys in.
Adam Wainwright has completely tied up the Royals' timing this afternoon. They are mishitting so many pitches.
So you know how you disrupt his timing? By stepping out of the batter's box, drop a bunt down, get him out of his comfort zone, start mixing it up a little bit. This guy, he's on a groove. He's put Tony Cruz in a rocking chair back there, and Cruz is sitting back there rocking, catching everything and keeping that ball down. Mix it up. Third baseman's back, drop a bunt on him here.
He's throwing a lot of pitches that are illusions, and I say that because they must look like they're strikes because they're not, and the Royals are swinging at pitches that are not strikes. And then Wainwright will drop one right down the middle at 84.
Okay, now, but Escobar can bunt, he can handle the bat, and then you got Dyson behind him. They can get a little 2-out rally going, drop one down. Get soft on him.
The Royals have one hit off Wainwright today, and it came in the first inning. The very first batter, Alex Gordon, dropped a bunt down the third base line, and Wainwright rolled his ankle, or he might have a no-hitter. There is a base hit. Well, that no-hitter we just talked about, that is a sure single by Escobar. 2 hits now for Kansas City.
Okay, that's a start. Now he didn't get soft with it, but he found a hole. They got to do something if they're going to beat the Cardinals or even get close to them here on another great day and another beautiful crowd out here at the K. Just red and blue everywhere, all sprinkled in. It's not like you have one half of the stadium red and one half blue. They're all baseball fans and they pull for their different teams. It's a beautiful day, beautiful game. But they're in Kansas City here at the K, and in order to make the K rock, they're going to have to get to Wainwright here, and it's not happening so far. He's lulling them to sleep. Okay, if he comes in there 2-0, hit a double down the line.
Dyson takes a strike. Wainwright's fastball has been between 87 and 92 miles an hour. Then he'll take something off his changeup as well, and his curveball.
Go ahead and shoot something over there. Shoot something by that third baseman or the first baseman, but the first baseman's on the base. We saw Dyson on the road hit a couple balls down the line, a couple at the third baseman there. That's his key. Wait. You see the ball longer and slap it by him.
How about that? Sun hat for the baby, enjoying the baseball game at the K, and got herself a foul ball. Phones ringing saying, "You're on TV. Smile." Dyson chops it foul at the plate, and it'll stay at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Okay, now see the third baseman over here at third base. He's back. Freeze is. The infield's all back. So when a guy's back like that, he has more range, and he'll get any of those balls you try to shoot by him. When he's in, you got a better chance.
He went. Inning over. Wainwright retains his shutout through 5. On a beautiful afternoon at the K, 4-0 Cardinals lead the Kansas City Royals. Steve Physioc, Rex Hudler. We're now joined by Jeff Montgomery, one of the great closers in the history of the game. Good to have you along with us. Mr. Wainwright looks pretty sharp.
Well, Stevie really does. He's found a way to keep the Royals completely off balance today. Just seems like he's mixing things up. Just, I guess, vintage Adam Wainwright.
And we'll take a look at Adam Wainwright working, because it's not like it's an overpowering fastball. It's just great pitching.
Well, he's found a way to locate, and that's really the key. He's coming back from a Tommy John surgery, but he's using all 4 quadrants of the plate. He's climbing the ladder effectively. He's able to get pitches moving downward. So, he's the complete package. He's really looking almost fully recovered from his surgery.
Monty, after being on the offensive side, facing a guy like that that's got a rock concert going on early in the game, I always just like to drop a bunt, change it up a little bit on him, try to get him out of his rhythm. Maybe slow play him, step out of the box, take a few seconds. Would that do the trick, you think, sometimes?
Well, you know, he's a very composed guy. He may try to really turn the tables if you do that. He may step out on you. I don't know. I mean, as a pitcher, oftentimes you get in that groove, and he certainly is in that type of groove at this stage in the game. Through 5 innings, only 2 hits, so he's been on his game. I think it's going to take some balls hitting a gap to really kind of shake him up a little bit.
Now we get our first look at Francisco Bueno, the 5'10" left-hander from Havana, Cuba. This is our Chevy pitching change. He joins the Royals after having his contract selected from AAA Omaha this morning. His last outing was on Tuesday when he tossed 2 scoreless innings in a 3-2 win over the Cardinals AAA squad. There's a base hit to right field.
It's got a little breaking ball. He just threw it there. It hung. Didn't have a lot of depth to it. Might want to take a little something off of that to get more depth, but that was a hanger, and a big leaguer's going to hit that pitch.
Well, first time in the big league since 2008, so I'm sure the nerves are with him a little bit. We saw him in spring training, and this is really, the opportunity he's been looking for. He doesn't know how long it's going to last, so I'm sure he's looking to maybe get an edge in some form. But you're right, he's going to have to work down on the strike zone because the Cardinals, they've been hot today. 9 base hits now, and I believe they're all singles. Is that right, Steve?
Mm-hmm. We found some holes.
The 31-year-old was 1-3 with 5 saves, 38 strikeouts with a 2.85 ERA in 25 outings for the Storm Chasers. Royals were hoping to get a quality start from Luis Mendoza, and he looked good through 4, but in the 5th inning, 5 straight singles knocked him out. Tony Cruz has flied to center field and grounded out to short, and that's exactly what Bueno would like to get here. The ball struck right at an infielder. Too many balls struck by St. Louis have been in the gaps in between first, second, short, and third. Out of play.
Monty, with Paulino going out, and that was unexpected, and that was really quite a blow, especially when they were expecting to get him back. What do you see the Royals continuing to develop from within? Do you see them going outside and trying to get some help?
I think the big concern for the pitching staff in general is when Paulino arrived here in Kansas City after his stint to start the season on the disabled list. It seemed like it really picked up this pitching staff, and it was almost like a momentum builder for all 5 guys that ran out there. And my concern is, how do they stop that, that negative from the news on the surgery? I'd like to see somebody step forward and throw a couple games. Remember those first few games he pitched, he was unhittable. Went out against the Yankees, a couple games against the Yankees looked really good. It almost, again, kind of built up momentum for the rotation. So someone's got to step forward and be the guy now.
Luke Hochevar, I have been encouraged the last couple of starts since Dave Island has convinced him to go more with his 4-seam curve and change, and his last 2 starts have really been good.
Well, and that's the Luke Hochevar we saw the second half of last year, so we're going to have to see it. And Rex, back to your point, there are a lot of guys who are hopefuls to be pitching in a big league uniform. Jake Odorizzi is the guy that always comes up. When are we going to see him? And I think it's a matter of when is he ready. Now, obviously, with the injury to Paulino, that's going to create an opportunity. So in order for a guy to come up, 1, he has to be ready and pitching well in the minor leagues, and 2, there has to be an opportunity. So now that opportunity has been created.
So we'll see. That's what you're saying. Now, in order to consummate a deal with another team to get a 3rd or 4th, even a 5th starter, they're going to ask for Will Myers. I'm sure they are. I mean, that's the top prospect in baseball. So, but there are a lot of different chips in there.
That'll work. No. But they do not get 1. I thought they would at least get 1. Running on the play, Carpenter, and he gets to second base, and Betancourt then bobbles the baseball, so they have no chance to get Tony Cruz at first base.
Well, it's important to know the speed of the runners, no doubt about it, but this play here probably was ill-advised. Betancourt wasn't expecting, he wasn't even on the base.
Yeah, these are the type plays that oftentimes lead to big innings. So as a pitcher, your responsibility now is, hey, maybe not the best decision made out here, but now my job as a pitcher, I got to stop the bleeding here.
Yeah, that's a play there that he just assumed that they were going to get a force. You can't assume in baseball. That's a play you got to get the sure out.
Well, it will be a fielder's choice, no error.
You hear it, Rex, at the earliest levels of baseball. Anytime there's a ground ball with a man on, get one for sure. You got to get one for sure. And you don't get it again. Oftentimes those lead to the big innings.
Yeah, especially with nobody out in a Redbirds team like this that buried them in the first game, and now they're looking to do the same here. Especially the fact that Carpenter was running. He was running on the play. The shortstop, you see that play in front of you. You know that you know if you're going to get him at second, it's going to be close. That's not the sure out. So maybe a mental mistake there by Escobar.
They get one. They get two.
Moose was thinking about three, though. He wasn't sure if he should go to second around the horn or go ahead and take the out at first and get two. But that's what he was thinking, and Quintero, he snapped at, he jumped right out and didn't even think it, threw that ball to third base. Good sharp play. That'll help him get out of the inning. Okay, now Hosmer's going to have to stop and go back to third base. I mean, go back to first. Moose had to wait.
Yeah, he had to wait on Uni to get over to cover the bag.
Yeah, but heads up, look at Quintero. Okay, Moose thinking, well, I guess I'll just get the sure out. And he used his strong arm.
We've seen him make so many outstanding plays at third base, and I always say, if he didn't have that arm, those plays are really not possible. A lot of guys can't make those plays because they don't have the type of arm to complete the throw part of it.
He made that tremendous throw a week ago Friday that beat the St. Louis Cardinals 3-2, throwing out Tyler Green at the plate to end the ball game. That's up the middle, past Betancourt into center field. Coming around will be Cruz, and Hosmer will cut the play off, and Cruz scores to give St. Louis a 5-0 lead. So Furcal is having a great series with a hit, a pair of walks yesterday, 2 hits and a walk today.
Okay, that ball, it was hit hard right off the right side of the mound. It took a little bit of a turn to second base, but no chance for Uni. Dyson's throw was cut off, but Uni was in left field following that attempt, so there was no one to get the runner at first. For Kyle, who was halfway, looked like they could have got him in a rundown, but nobody at first.
Jeff, I ask this because you've been around this marketplace for a long time, watching this organization closely, and we've been talking about pitching, we've been talking about Paulino, the loss. Dayton Moore has done an awesome job as the general manager, but he cannot lose track of what his goal is and his focus, and sometimes that means he must be patient despite some dire circumstances.
Well, and again, the fans and everyone, we all want to see these players come to the big leagues, but the organization understands their timetable, and they know when they're going to be ready, and they would rather they be here a little late than too early, because they've seen what happens if they get them here too early as far as their development is concerned.
And just the point that Rex brought up when he said everybody's asking for Will Myers, and that is a chip that they cannot afford to offer up.
Right, there's a blueprint that's been put in place, and they're sticking to the plan, and that's one thing I really credit the organization, and particularly Dayton Moore, is the fact that they have stuck to that plan regardless of how dire things have gotten over the last 3 or 4 years at times. They're getting closer, but you can't deviate from your plan, otherwise it's not going to work.
And there was a trade that Dayton Moore made in spring training that people don't talk about that has allowed them to remain competitive. They lost catchers, their 2 top prospects, in 1 week. And all of the other organizations knew that they had leverage on Dayton Moore, and he was able to get a quality catcher like Humberto Quintero and did not give up that much in this system.
That's fortunate that he was stockpiled with players to be able to do that.
We'll talk more about that when we come back. Hey fans, we ask that you help provide for those in need during the annual Royals Wives Food Drive this Monday and Tuesday from 6 to 8 in the evening at the Outfield Experience. There will be a silent auction on Monday and mystery bags that feature Royals autographed baseballs on Tuesday. Fans are also encouraged to drop off kid-friendly, non-perishable food items during both days. All proceeds will benefit the Bishop Sullivan Center. You can learn more at royals.com/food drive. Adam Wainwright has been outstanding as he begins his 6th inning of work. He has allowed just 2 hits, and this is our Sonic Slam inning. And our contestant is Jessica Schmid from Kansas City, Kansas. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Jessica will win $800. If they hit a grand slam, then Jessica will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. Humberto Quintero opens the bottom of the 6th well with a base hit to right center field.
Okay, look, there's time. 5-0. It's not a huge lead that they can't come back in, Monty, but you got to peck away. Singles, bunch them together, just like the Cardinals have done in the big inning and the 5th inning where they bunch 6 singles together. Same thing.
Not going to get them all in one inning.
No, and it's tough against Wainwright. He's got a little rock concert going on today, but look, you have to look for positive things if you're going to win.
Well, the first thing you have to do, you have to get enough hits and a couple of runs across the board to get his pitch count up and get him out of there.
Couple bloops, a bomb, couple knocks, you know. We haven't seen him in a while here at the K.
And we have a pinch hitter for Jessica. It will be Paula Chancellor from Smithville, Missouri. The jackpot is $800. So Jessica, your turn will be tomorrow. So we have a pinch hitter for you this afternoon on a Saturday. The batter is Alex Gordon. Gordon has singled and walked. Now, if the Royals get a big fly in this inning, Jessica's going to feel cheated. Like, that's just not fair. But Jessica, you might get a grand slam tomorrow. Let's just hope the Royals can go deep. Steve Physiok along with Rex Hudler and Jeff Montgomery. Jeff, we were talking about being patient with your success. Adam Wainwright is a classic example. He was with the Atlanta Braves organization, really talented pitcher, but they could not wait for him because Atlanta needed to win right now. And the Braves traded him to St. Louis in 2003 with Ray King and Jason Marquis for J.D. Drew and Eli Marrero. And then all of a sudden Wainwright takes off and has incredible success with the National League Cardinals.
Well, and it's sometimes the change of scenery that allows a player to do that. I know when I came to the Kansas City Royals from the Cincinnati Reds, that was that change of scenery. That was that opportunity to go out and perform on a regular basis. You know you're going to be either in the bullpen or in the rotation. And those opportunities, you have to take them and run with them, Rex. I'm sure you can attest. You don't get a lot of them in this game, but when you get one, make the most of it. And certainly Adam Wainwright has done a good job at that.
Yeah, and you know, he left with Tommy John in spring training last year, and he was a 20-game winner the year before. So you can imagine the Cardinal faithful they were like punched in the gut, saying, "Oh man, there goes our 20-game winner. We don't have much of a chance." Well, the team responds and goes out and wins a World's Championship. I mean, you just never know if it's because opportunity, someone else stepped up and picked up the slack. And that's what we're going to have to see here on our hill, on our bump. Starting pitchers, somebody step up and take the lead and eat up some innings, pitch by pitch, and keep the focus and hope that your offense can give you some support. Early runs are important here, and we got nothing but goose eggs up there.
Well, I know last season or about this time when we were in the interleague against the Cardinals didn't look like a World Series champion team.
Gordon to left center, and it was misplayed by Jay, and Quintero is going to score. Gordon is racing to third. The throw is not in time. The Royals on the scoreboard on a rare mistake by the Cardinal center fielder.
That's another form of opportunity. Now he's going to get credited for a triple on this play, and it should have been just another out. But you can see the wind here at Kauffman Stadium is swirling. It messed with one of the best center fielders, and look, it can get anybody. Misjudgment, physical mental error, take advantage. Wainwright been going pretty good. They had Gordon played perfectly. John Jay was right on that ball. He just came in 3 steps, and by the time he got in, he said, uh-oh. And it's too late. Quintero doing all he can to get that piano off his back and score that run. It was a beautiful thing. Get that run across, the wind will mess with it.
There's the wind Rex is talking about. It is going between 15 and 20 miles an hour right towards left center. And that pushed that ball away from John Jay in center field, allowing Quintero to score the first run. Now Gordon just 90 feet away with nobody out, and a golden opportunity for Betancourt to get RBI number 17.
Steve starting to talk before the triple by Alex there about last season. The Cardinals didn't look like a World Series champion team, but the guy that picked them up, Rex, last year was a way that Chris Carpenter really got things going. A veteran guy, had been there before. Second half of the season, he really started to pick his game up. And because he didn't look good when he started the game here in Kansas City, but he eventually got things going, and at the end of the season in the World Series, he was spectacular.
You got to find a way here to get this run home. You want to get back in this game, shorten up your swing, just make some contact up the middle. There you go. It's shortening it up a little.
Because their middle infield is giving the Royals a run to get an out. And Wainwright is going for the strikeout here.
Now, it's so much easier to talk about up here, okay? Even though Betancourt can see the middle infield, the situation knows, he still wants to try to put the ball, bat on that ball. Just make some contact, play some pepper with it.
Outside, 2-2
with 2 strikes.
Jeff, you were in this situation many times, coming out of the bullpen, man on third base, and whoever it was that was managing you said, we need a strikeout here. What was your mentality in this situation?
Well, this situation, I don't care if the guy on third base scores. I'm going to sacrifice that guy on third to get an out, because I know that with a 4-run lead, that guy's really not going to hurt me in this situation. So I can't really allow him to take my focus away from the batter. Now, for a 1-run game, I know I've got 2 ways to get out of it. I can get a strikeout, or I can get a fly ball. So if I want to get, a pop-up, so I might pitch him inside, try to come inside and get him to pop something up, keep it in the infield, so that guy can't tag up from third base and score.
Betancourt pulling it to third. Freeze takes a look and then guns it to first base as Gordon scores the Royals' second run.
Not so sure Cruz wasn't wanting the ball at home plate. Maybe take a shot on getting Alex at the plate, but they take the shirt out at first base.
St. Louis still leads by 3. They have 5 runs on 10 hits. The Royals have 2 on 4. Wainwright will now face Billy Butler with the bases empty. Butler has grounded into a double play and lined out to center field.
Okay, so getting a couple runs like that with the defensive miscue in center field has got to give them a little bit of momentum and a little bit of a light to say, hey, look, we can come back and get these guys. There's a team here that never gives up. Ned Yost has instilled that characteristic in his ball club that's really a long-lasting characteristic. It's not something that just lasts from one series to the next. You have to believe you can come back and beat any team.
Broke his bat, popped up. Battling that sun is Daniel Descalso, but he is able to make the catch for out number 2. It's time for our AT&T trivia question. Who are the only 2 Royals pitchers with winning decisions in an All-Star game? Jeff, do you have an idea?
I am stumped on that one.
You rarely are stumped. Come on, Monty. It's got to be Monty. Is it you?
It's not me.
How about Saberhagen?
I like that.
Here is Eric Hosmer.
How about
3 times Eric Hosmer has pulled the ball to the right side, swinging at a pitcher's pitch. The Royals do score a couple of runs in the 6th inning. We'll give the answer answer our trivia question when we come back. Royals baseball is brought to you by Panera Bread, 23 locations and now open in Brookside. Visit us online at PaneraKansas.com. By Thoroughbred Ford, the best deals on new Fords are at thoroughbredford.com. And by AT&T Uverse, the new wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/free your TV. Rethink possible. The new pitcher will be Greg Holland. He'll take on St. Louis. The Cardinals leading 5-2. Holland will face Matt Holliday, Carlos Beltran, and Alan Craig.
Okay, get in the strike zone early. Try to get some early count out and conserve pitches. And keep them in this game if you can. Now, Monty, how many pitches did you have in your repertoire to face hitters?
Fastball, curveball, changeup, and slider. And I couldn't throw the ball by anyone, but my ability to throw all 4 pitches at any count was the key.
Okay, you were a 4-pitch closer. Now, Holland's the same way. Holland has 4 pitches, and he has a split finger, and he shows that split finger in his grip before he delivers the ball. When do you decide which weapons you're going to use and which ones are working and which ones aren't?
Well,
because you can't use them all 4, can you?
Right, but a lot of times you know before the ball even comes back from the catcher what pitch you want to go with, and it's amazing how many times you're on the same page with that catcher. If you got a catcher back there that you work well with, I mean, 95% of the time you're thinking slider, he's putting slider down. So you just kind of click, and with that splitter with Holland, he wants to get that grip before he goes to a set position so he doesn't have to show that pitch, or he doesn't have to give any wiggle in his glove to get that grip on the pitch. So that's why he sets it prior to going into a set position.
Right, so he doesn't give him any tendencies, any hitters, anything to look at his glove flaring out or anything.
Exactly.
Because that split finger and changeups are grips that make your glove go wider.
Yeah, a lot of times the pitchers will actually tip the pitch they're going to throw. The other side, Rex, if you think that they're trying to read something, you can almost decoy them, and you can kind of dig into that glove and make that glove appear as though you're digging for that changeup or digging for that splitter, and then you throw the fastball.
Because you get the hitter thinking. And we've been talking about the delicate mental muscle of thinking in a reaction game. If you think too much, paralysis by analysis sets in.
Thinking is key for a pitcher, because if you can get the hitter thinking about one of 2 pitches, you always have to have the fastball as one of them. A hitter always has to be protective of the fastball. But if you can get him thinking fastball or changeup or fastball or slider, then you've got a real advantage on that hitter, provided you execute the pitch. We'll take a look here at Holland. He's going to get that early set. He's got that split grip going before he even goes into the glove. And he's going to show that is a pitch he's got set. So now anything he does, anything he works off of into his curveball grip or his fastball grip, it's just a very subtle movement, so he doesn't create any movement in the glove.
Well, another thing that's interesting about Holland that I've noticed is that you saw him push that on the heel of his glove. He pushed that forkball split finger grip deeper into his fingers, but he'll hold that ball above right at the tip of his glove. Most guys will have that ball firmly in their glove, but he puts it at the tip of his glove up here. He holds it. That's kind of an unusual deal where he's like right here. See where that ball is? It's in the tip of his glove. It's not in the palm of it.
Yeah, and another interesting thing about Holland, he's a tapper. Before he really goes into his full delivery, he'll tap that ball into the palm of his glove before almost every delivery.
Where he has now a full count with Matt Holliday, who has had a very good series with 5 hits, 2 more RBIs today. He will battle you. A veteran out of Stillwater, Oklahoma. His father was the baseball coach at Oklahoma State, so he was tutored along the way. You're talking about the art of thinking the game, whether you're a pitcher or a hitter. This is a guy who's very confident of his abilities.
Especially today, he's the DH. He looks like he's really taking each at bat very seriously.
In the air, right field. Francoeur going back, and that ball is up against the wall. Holliday races to second base and makes it with a double. First extra base hit of the day for St. Louis.
Boy, that's a big time at bat. Fouled off pitch after pitch, and finally he waits for the cookie, and there it was, right down the middle. Didn't try to pull it. He kept his hands in, and Frenchie just shot it over his head. He had no chance on that ball.
He saw everything that Greg Holland had to offer on the 9th pitch of the at bat. Gets one in the middle of the plate, does what he's paid to do.
One of the things I've been impressed with Carlos Beltran is these situations, how many times he'll pull the ball on the ground to the right side to get the runner from second to third base. I mean, we're in the later innings. Every single run is so important, particularly after KC scored 2, to get within 3 of St. Louis.
You rarely get him off balance. Here's a guy whose foundation, his legs, are really important for him. Of course, every hitter and every pitcher, you got to have a good base, but you rarely see him swinging off balance.
Rex, he's been that way since his arrival. My last year as a Royal in 1999 was his rookie season. He won the American League Rookie of the Year, and he came here polished, ready to play. And one thing I've heard a lot since the Cardinals were in town from a number of people is he's still a class individual. He's got roughly 2,000 hits in his career, but still just one of the gentlemen of the game.
And there was a split finger that he got him off balance.
He's just 7 hits shy of 2,000 in his career. The 1-2-3 hitters of St. Louis have really hurt KC today. They have 7 hits in 11 at bats. And now the cleanup man Beltran in there with Holliday at second base. Tried to pull it to the right side, but struck it foul.
With the bullpen leading the league in innings pitched, Ned Yost is well aware of that. And what he's doing is he's giving relievers 1 inning apiece. He's not leaving one guy out there for 2 innings. He's just kind of spreading the innings around, making sure everybody stays fresh.
It's a luxury for Ned Yost to have that many effective relief guys that he can spread the wealth out a little bit.
Great pitch by Greg Holland as he backed off velocity and strikes out Beltran. We asked that trivia question by AT&T. Now we'll give you both the question and the answer. The question was, who are the only 2 Royals pitchers with winning decisions in an All-Star game? And the answer is Brett Saberhagen in 90 and Jose Rosado in 97.
A couple of teammates of mine, and I think Saberhagen may have gotten his when Julio Franco got a base hit against Rob Dibble in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken.
Saberhagen won 2 Cy Young Awards. And that 90 season was spectacular. Now Alan Craig, a professional hitter out of Mission Viejo, California, 27 years of age. Went to Cal Berkeley. Holliday was able to spray so many of Greg Holland's tough pitches foul before getting that fastball and striking it over the head of Francoeur in right. St. Louis is now 40-30 versus Kansas City in interleague play. But the Cardinals have dominated in this ballpark. Down low.
Okay, when you're the second base umpire and you are in on the grass, you are in highly nitro area. You're going to get a lot of line drives hit at you when you're in that close. So if you're Sam Holbrook standing right there close to the action, you've got to be heads up. I've seen umpires get smoked on balls that can't get out of the way of it. So you are in the game. You're in with young players. You got to be alive. Just seeing him brings back memories of guys getting hit. Now there's Joe West, 34 years, an umpire. He'll have home plate tomorrow on the hot day tomorrow. But good effective pitch. So far, Holland's looking really good. But Sam Holbrook, you're always looking at the second baseman. Am I in your way? You know, center fielder, you know, you want to stay out of the traffic zone, but your eyes are focused on that bat. And for Sam Holbrook, look, he's like a lot of players, like you, Monty. You're a successful businessman after your playing career. Sam Holbrook, he owns a bait company, Cabin Creek Popeye.com. If you are a crappie fisherman like I am, you want to get some of his Popeye lures. They're high quality feather jigs. I love catching crappie, but I'm going to tell you, when you know somebody like this who's in business and knows the tire of those things, he's got a little second business going. He loves to fish. I love Sam for that. And when Sam brings me his newest invention of catching crappies, I'm going to show it to the crappie fishermen out there. He showed me something in the umpire's room today that was just really special. It's a lure that has 5 or 6 hooks on it. It looks like a school of fish going right by the crappie, and you're guaranteed to catch you a crappie.
You may catch 6.
You might.
I'm waiting for Rex to break out into song. Any fish will bite if you got good bait, and here's a little music I would like to relate.
CabinCreekPopeye.com. Check out the newest invention of crappie jigs.
All right, here we go. Man at second base. Alan Craig working Greg Holland as we make the move from fishing to baseball. The count is 3-2.
Can't help it with this weather coming through. I know that they're going to start biting.
They were this morning when it was cloudy. Craig hits it high and deep. This is trouble. This is gone.
All right, he went with that split finger, and this time it was elevated a little bit. When you hang a pitch like that, it's a lot slower. Hitters' eyes can pick up on it pretty quick. Look where it was. It ends up about just above the knees, over the middle of the plate, and this guy Craig, he's very strong. Actually, it was a spinner.
Looked like a little slider, we call it a cement mixer slider. Just kind of spins around there, doesn't have the finish, doesn't have the break.
Yep, this was last Saturday.
In this inning, a double by Holiday, a home run by Craig. They hurt the Royals back-to-back last week. Kansas City took 2 of 3 from St. Louis last week. Right now, the Cardinals have a 7-2 lead after they won 11-4 last night in the opener. Lance Lynn and Jonathan Sanchez will go tomorrow at 1 o'clock. David Freese has walked and singled in this game as St. Louis now has 7 runs on 12 hits. They have 29 hits in a game and a half, and there's a base hit, so give them 30 hits in the first 2 games of this series.
.414 feet they estimated that Craig home run.
Ned Yost will take out Greg Holland and go to the bullpen as Jose Mijares will come in from the bullpen to try and get a Cardinal out. St. Louis leads Kansas City 7-2. Are you hitting the road? We'll take the Royals with you this year. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Royals out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Royals.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Francisli Bueno came on, and then Greg Holland. Now it will be Jose Mijares to face left-handed hitting Matt Carpenter. Carpenter has one hit, one of the 13 collected by St. Louis today. Popped up, shallow center field. Should be Dyson. 2 outs. Jeff, we were talking about pitching, and that will be the key for the Royals throughout this year and their offense coming around, because defensively they've been on target. Their bullpen has been solid, but starting pitching will always be the #1 concern. And I know you talked about Jake Odorizzi, but there are 2 guys having quality seasons, actually several more down at AAA Omaha, who are more veterans. Everett Tiefert is having a solid year, and the other guy is Doug Davis, that a lot of people haven't heard about, who has had success. Have you heard any reports on Doug?
Sorry, Steve, I've not heard on anything on Davis, but obviously we've seen Tiefert here, and he has some experience. And the thing I like about Tiefert, he's so versatile. He can come in and get you an out against a lefty. He can start a game for you. He can pitch in the long relief. So I think he's probably a guy that's got to be on the radar screen.
Because they do need a pick-me-up after the Paulino. That really took some life out of the rotation. The last 2 starts have not gone well for Vin Mazzaro last night and Luis Mendoza today. Was hoping to get a good start from Jonathan Sanchez tomorrow. And that pitch wanders high. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I'm actually anxious for the Futures game. We're going to have a chance to see Jake Odorizzi in person. I think that's the best way to judge a player, particularly a pitcher. You get to see them in real life and see what their pitches look like.
Another guy to take a look at is a guy at Class A ball. He's 21 years old, Yordano Ventura, who is 5'11", 140 pounds, and throws 99 miles an hour. He's averaging like 12 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Sounds like a little Tim Collins to me.
Exactly.
Steve, there are not a lot of people you can say they are a little Tim Collins either.
Yeah, because Tim Collins can bulk up to 175 pounds. And Ventura is only 140 pounds and lights up the radar gun.
Well, Monty was not exactly a physical, imposing presence out there. Now, Monty,
You don't think I scared anyone?
not with your physical stature, but your weapons that you had, you explained it, you had those to do your talking for you.
Well, that was the only way that I was able to survive, because I was not going to intimidate.
I have one name to describe a guy like you, where in stature you wouldn't think, but man, he intimidated a lot of hitters. Greg Maddux. About 6 feet tall, about 180 pounds, but could throw the ball in a teacup if you taped it to your knee.
Yeah, he was a master at painting the strike zone.
Cardinals with a runner at first base. Mijares is able to get it in on the hands of Tony Cruz, who fouls it back. Tony is flied out, grounded out, and reached on a fielder's choice and scored the run in the 6th inning by St. Louis, as the Cardinals have scored 1 in the 3rd, 3 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and 2 in this 7th to open up a 5-run lead again. Popped him up. Should be Escobar, and it is, as he has to kind of maneuver around the incoming runner. Jeff Montgomery, thanks for joining us in the 7th.
Glad to be here.
All right. We'll hear him in the post game. All right. Adam Wainwright back on the hill to face Jeff Francoeur. Fouled off, strike 1. That's a fair ball. Freeze airs it out and just does get his man at first base. Man, that's a strong arm. He turned and looked at the third base umpire, Mike Easterbrook, to see if he had called the ball fair or foul, and then aired it out across the diamond.
Yep, that ball went right over the base, and Frenchie, if he's going good, that ball hits the base and he gets a base hit. Ball just hopped over. Look at him. He looks to see. Says, I want to try to save that throw. If it's foul, I'm not going to throw it. But when you have a good, strong arm, why not show it off?
Well, there's a Moose fan.
They're all over this part of the country.
Breaks his bat and sends it foul. Sounded like you took a bite out of a piece of celery, the way it crunched at home plate.
Well, they'd like to get Wainwright out of this game. He's got 95 pitches thrown. They've got a little action up in their bullpen. Do the Redbirds.
And quite frankly, he should have a shutout, but a misplay by John Jay went for a triple, and that not only scored a run, but it allowed Gordon to score, and the ground out by Betancourt. And there's a flare to right field and a base hit for Moose. It's time for our AT&T U-verse reverse replay. This is when St. Louis strung together 5 straight singles.
Yep, and you know, before the game started, I said Mendoza's got to kill some worms at the K by ground balls, and he did give those up, except they had eyes on it. That ball did. It just found holes. All them singles in a row. Back in that 5th inning, played 3 runs, and really, Royals offense trying to play catch up again for the 2nd game in a row.
Kansas City came home after a wonderful road trip, winning 4 of their 6 games, taking 2 of 3 in St. Louis and 2 of 3 in Houston. But this has been like St. Louis's home away from home. There's a base hit to right field by Escobar. Moose will stop at second base. And I say that, Rex, because since 2003, the Cardinals are 20-8 in this ballpark, averaging 5.5 runs per game. Kansas City starting pitching is over 7 in that time.
Okay, well, this is a nice stroke right there. He looked like he was trying to hit that hole all the way. And I looked down at the Cardinal dugout, and I took a look at Mike Matheny, their manager. First year, he took his sunglasses off. Okay, typically that's a sign that he's about ready to go make a pitching change, but he wants to see how Wainwright does with Dyson here.
2 on, 1 out. Dyson has flied to right and struck out. The Royals and Cardinals getting together in interleague play. They met in the '85 World Series. That was the 2nd Missouri only World Series. Of course, in 1944, the Cardinals played the St. Louis Browns. And '85 was the year of comebacks for Kansas City. The Royals had to finish late to overtake the California Angels and win the West, and they had to come from behind to beat the Toronto Blue Jays, and of course had to come from 3 games to 1 deficit to overcome St. Louis and win their first World Series.
Well, that's a great characteristic that you bring onto your team. Now, it's brought on by the players who don't want to give in, and they keep coming back, but once you do that 4 or 5 times, now you say, okay, we can do it again. And in baseball, it's played every day. You're not going to be in front all the time. You're going to come from behind. You got to get some of those wins.
Dyson hits it sharply, but right at the second baseman, Descalso, who bobbles the baseball, recovers to throw out Dyson. Runners do advance, but 2 outs now in inning number 7. And Matheny's going to let Wainwright get himself out of this jam.
Yep, he's going to stay with him. That's all you do with that ball, too. Descalzo, just stay with it, get the out for sure. And, you know, Matheny having to manage the National League is a lot of second guessing going in the National League with pitchers hitting, pinch hitters. But coming here to the Kauffman Stadium in the American League rules, he likes it. He can just kind of sit back and see how his offense does. And if his pitcher gets in trouble, all he's got to do is just bring in another pitcher. Don't have to worry about double switches or who he's going to put in here or there. I mean, it's a big difference in managerial styles between the National League and the American League.
Wainwright facing Humberto Quintero, who is 1 for 2. Adams struck him out in the 3rd, and Quintero got to him in inning number 6 when he singled, and Alex Gordon then tripled in a run. Tripled in Quintero, and Alex scored in the ground out by Betancourt. The Cardinals with 7 runs on 13 hits. The Royals with 2 on 6.
This is almost an identical outing as compared to Wainwright's last outing against the Royals. Went 7 innings. Just gave up a few, but it went 15 innings that game. So he had a no decision.
3-0 to Quintero with the lefty on deck, Alex Gordon. In there. Had it timed, got underneath. Count is back full at 3-2. The inning started with Francoeur grounding out to third. Moustakas singled to right, so did Escobar. Dyson grounded out with both runners advancing. And after Wainwright fell behind Humberto Quintero 3-0, he has come back with 2 quick strikes. And strikes out Quintero. A marvelous afternoon for the St. Louis starter, Adam Wainwright.
Cardinals on top of the Royals 7-2 as we head to the 8th at Kauffman Stadium. Panera takes us around the league. We'll look at the American League Central action here. And no score early on most of these games. Detroit and Pittsburgh, Cleveland and Houston just underway as the Indians playing some nice ball. Brian Dunsing on the hill to take on Johnny Cueto. And tonight it is the Brewers at U.S. Cellular Field as the White Sox have come back down to earth. And guys, I know we don't root for the Detroit Tigers a whole lot, but got to definitely feel for Max Scherzer, who is pitching today just 3 days after the death of his brother, a reported suicide. And Max Scherzer, a great guy, Missouri kid, went to Missouri, former teammate of Aaron Crow's, and so pitching with a heavy heart today.
No question about that. The Tigers came in at 34-36 today. Many people expected them to win the Central. Max was certainly very responsible for their resurgence in that Central. He has pitched extremely well in May and June. The ball swung on and missed. But Cleveland leads the American League Central by a game and a half over Chicago as the Indians have gone 5-5 and the White Sox just spinning their wheels, losing 7 of their last 10. And Detroit winning 6 of their last 10, including playing the Cardinals extremely tough in that 3-game series.
You know, it has been a real slow climb back to 500 for the Royals. And it just seems like before this series started, they were 5 games under the 500 mark. As there's a really good pitch by Mijares. And Descalzo got to go. But seems like whenever they get to 5 games, they lose a couple games in a row and they fall back down some more. So had they not had that 12-game losing streak early in the season, you know, say they split half of those games, say they won half of them, think how much better they would be, and they might be close to first place right now. So that early start, when they lost all them games in a row, that really has set them back. So hoping they can just keep climbing back to 500. That's where they got it. That's their goal.
It certainly is, but it will take stronger starting pitching. The offense has been very soft this year, dead last in runs, last in home runs, last in walks. It is a young offense, and it has kept them in games, and they've had marvelous comebacks this year. Certainly the two plays in St. Louis last week, a defensive play by Moustakas to seal a victory on Friday, and Butler's home run in the 9th to tie it on Sunday, and Betancourt's to win it. But they've needed those moments so much this year.
God, you know, just say they won 5 of those games. You know, that's a big difference. And they were in a lot of those games that they lost in that 12-game losing streak. They were in a bunch of them.
That's why starting pitching will again be the key, and that means guys like Bruce Chen, a veteran, Luke Hochevar, a veteran, must lead that starting rotation. Felipe Paulino is done for the year. Danny Duffy out for the year. Another walk to Furcal, who has now walked 4 times in the first 2 games of this series. And fans, bring the entire family to Major League Baseball All-Star Fan Fest from July 6th through July 10th at Kansas City Convention Center, Bartle Hall. Major League Baseball's All-Star Fan Fest is an interactive baseball theme park and the largest baseball fan event in the world. Get free autographs from baseball legends and members of the Hall of Fame and much more. To guarantee your preferred date and time slot, buy tickets now at allstargame.com. All attractions are included with the price of admission. It is going to be a fantastic time that entire weekend, because you have the Home Run Derby, the Fan Fest, the All-Star Game itself, the Futures Game with so many Royals contributing in that, and Will Myers and Jake Odorizzi and Giordano Ventura. And the park will be absolutely packed, much like we're seeing today.
Yep. And George Brett is the manager of that Futures team, along with the AAA manager.
337,240 here today. Betancourt for a 6 and a 3 double play. The Royals have only 6 hits in today's game, but 2 by that man Alex Gordon, a bunt single, and also a triple, which we gave him a Miller Lite for.
Okay, Wainwright was on top of his game. Gordon, he'll take that one there. The misplay by John Jay in the center field. He'll take it. That led to 2 runs. And that's all they've been able to scratch so far.
Wainwright is out. Mitchell Boggs comes out of the bullpen, the 6'4", 215-pound right-hander from Dalton, Georgia. This will be game number 32 for Mitchell. 2.3 earned run average. He will face Gordon, Betancourt, and Butler here in the bottom of the 8th. Cardinals lead it by 5 after winning by 7 last night.
Heavy sinker, slider, split finger are his pitches.
Mitchell, a marvelous athlete who briefly attended the University of Tennessee Chattanooga to play football. He was a quarterback. Also starred on the baseball team at Georgia. Out of play. Gordon has 2 strikes on him. Adam Wainwright went 7 terrific innings of this one. And If Jay does not misplay his ball in center field, one struck by Alex Gordon, Wainwright with 7 shutout innings. Royals have 6 outs to go at the top of the order up here, and that pitch is way outside, thrown to Alex. Boggs threw 2 days ago against the Detroit Tigers and threw an inning and a third of perfect baseball. He had a scoreless 8th inning on Sunday against Kansas City. Gordon strikes that up the middle, backhanded, and how about that play? Descalso.
That just set him up for a nice little highlight play. 5 steps to his right. Does a little jump, pirouette throw. Now, I used to call that the Julio Cruz play. Julio Cruz was a second baseman back in the 80s that used to do that play a lot. You got to find the grip, find the ball, get on top of it just like he did, and makes a perfect play. Get to play a couple times a week. You do one good thing in a game, you've had a good game. That's how hard it is.
Here is Unieski Bencourt, who drove in his 17th run back in inning number 6 when the Royals plated both of their runs. A single by Quintero, a triple by Gordon, and Bencourt's ground out. Bencourt lines out for a call. 2 gone. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Royals. 2 outs for Billy Butler, who's grounded into a double play, lined out and popped up. Mitchell Boggs delivers ball 1. We come to you from Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, where the Cardinals trying to take the first 2 games of this series after KC took 2 at the new Busch Stadium last week. Both of those games were done in rather dramatic style. As Kansas City had a defensive play at the end of game 1 on Friday to seal a 3-2 victory, and then won in 15 innings on Betancourt's home run. Butler pulls it to third. Freese has it, and his throw is perfect. The Royals are done in the 8th. We head to the 9th. It's all St. Louis, 7-2.
7-2 Cardinals lead the Royals. Big crowd, and we should have some fun out at Rivals Boulevard. Royals Live, Joel Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery will break this down afterwards. Talk about the Royals' offensive struggles against Adam Wainwright. Luis Mendoza, a lot of hits in the 5th, end up doing him in, and we'll get you ready for tomorrow. Jonathan Sanchez and Lance Lynn, and want to let everybody know with all the recent Tommy John surgeries, we're going to have the Royals head team physician, Dr. Vincent Key, on with us to talk about why so many Tommy Johns now, how it happens, and nice to be able to get an expert out there to talk about it so us doctors don't have to. Guys?
Thank you very much, Joel. It is a 7-2 ball game. The Cardinals with the lead over the Kansas City Royals. New pitcher is Aaron Crow. This is his 34th game he has worked this year. Has a solid 2.73 ERA. And there is a flare by Matt Holliday, who continues to just tear apart Kansas City pitching with his 4th hit of this game and his 7th of the series.
Just flaring them out there. Now he'll get his share of well-struck balls, no doubt about it. But I'll tell you, every hitter that ever played will tell you they love a doinker every once in a while. And he's got a couple of them today.
Here is Carlos Beltran, 3 hits in the series. Now 7 hits shy of 2,000 in his marvelous career. He is 35 years of age. He said it was wonderful coming back here and playing at Kauffman Stadium. He grew up in the organization from '95 on. Played 7 years in the major leagues. Jeff Montgomery was talking about seeing him his rookie year in '99 when he was voted American League Rookie of the Year.
4 100 RBI seasons. He can hit. Always has.
But as good as Beltran has been, he hasn't been as hot as that man, who's now batting .591 against Royals pitching. Base hit right field. So he is 6 shy of 2,000 in his career. Holiday stops at second base. Carlos said when he came up in the Kansas City organization, he did not speak English well, so he would just go to fast food places and point at what he wanted to eat, and they would get that for him. He was terribly homesick when he left Puerto Rico.
It's not easy.
No.
Coming into a country you're not used to, you know, language, foods, all that stuff. So these guys grow immensely as human beings by just the experience at all. But now you talk to him now, he speaks very fluent English, and he's been a great student of the language.
He not only taught himself English, but he also taught himself how to switch hit. He didn't know how it was going to work. He called Bernie Williams of the New York Yankees, who talked him through it. And in his first game in the minor leagues as a switch hitter, batting from the left side, he had 3 hits in the game, left-handed. Here's Alan Craig, who belted a home run, his 9th of the year, back in inning number 7. Cardinals with a run in the 3rd, 3 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and 2 in the 7th. They have 2 on with nobody out here in the 9th inning against Aaron Crow. And the hit parade continues for St. Louis as Holiday comes around to score to make it an 8-2 ball game. 17 hits last night, and they have 16 more today.
It's hard to contain. You know, Crow does a good job. He's trying to pitch, throw him in, he's throwing away, and they're just putting the bat on the ball, and they're hot. They're heating up, catching him at the wrong time. Caught it off the inside of the bat. He didn't barrel it. Good level swing.
And the scouts we talked to even last week were saying they were waiting for St. Louis to bust out. This is such a fine offense, and they finally are getting healthy. They got 3 guys back from the disabled list this week, and Jay and Carpenter, Schumacher, and all have contributed in this series to go with their veterans on a world championship team. And they have busted out for 33 hits and 19 runs in the first 2 games of this series. The Royals came into this game at 31 and 37, 5.5 games back of Cleveland. The Royals have done most of their damage away from Kauffman Stadium. They're 4 games over 500 on the road, but 10 games under away. And Freese swings and misses, and Crow gets the strikeout.
Good slider. Trying to find something that these guys can't hit. See that super slow motion camera? That works beautifully to show you the rotation. I call it a little wrinkle. in the pitch. That means it takes a little bit off of it. Little slider there's his signature pitch.
Now Matt Carpenter. Carpenter 1 for 4 this afternoon. He has grounded out a couple of times, singled to right field and popped up to center. That will end the 9th inning for St. Louis. Nice tidy double play, but St. Louis scores one more and opens up a 6-run lead on KC. St. Louis leading Kansas City 8-2, bottom of the 9th inning. Fans, this July, don't miss the biggest event of the summer as baseball's greatest stars battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic. The road to the World Series begins with the 2012 Major League Baseball All-Star Game Tuesday, July 10th at 6:30 on Fox. All of the great stars you'll want to see will be right there. We've got one game tomorrow in this I-70 Interleague Series, the final interleague game of the year for Kansas City and St. Louis. Right now we will see Jason Mott come out of the bullpen. He was on the mound against Kansas City last Sunday trying to wrap up a 3-2 victory and struck out the first 2 batters he faced and threw 2 quick strikes to Billy Butler at 96 and 97 miles an hour and tried to sneak one past Butler, and Butler hit it 436 feet to tie the game. Now Eric Hosmer, who is 0 for 3 with 3 groundouts.
Well, the last closer that the Royals saw in a non-save situation, they did a lot of damage on him.
Hosmer grounds out for the 4th time.
Out in Houston when Brett Myers came in the game to get a little work in, they busted him around a little bit. I don't know if they'll do the same thing here. Now Mott has a little bit different repertoire. He's got a real hard fastball, good hard slider. When Brett Myers has 4 pitches, and I believe they scored 5 runs off him.
Myers was able to get the first man out, Rex. That was Jeff Francoeur, who's now at the plate. He got him to ground out. Then Moustakas started it. Mike, then Escobar, then Quintero, then Dyson. Then Hosmer hit a sacrifice fly, followed by Gordon, Betancourt, and Butler singles. Ground ball freeze. They get the second out. And Frenchie is 0 for 4 in the day. But St. Louis has done it with hitting in this series. The first 2 games they have scored 19 runs on 33 hits, breaking out of a slide against the Detroit Tigers when they hit only 228 with no home runs and 3 RBIs in the entire Tigers series.
All right, get those antlers straightened up there, because she's feeling something big coming off of Moose's bat.
Mike 1 for 3 on the day, a strikeout, ground out, and single to right field.
Cardinals looking to get even with the Royals after last weekend. Royals going there taking 2 out of 3.
The series right now is at 2 wins each. This would give the Cardinals the edge going to tomorrow, as Lance Lynn, the young pitcher for the Cardinals, will be on the hill to face lefty Jonathan Sanchez. Wainwright gave him a great start today. They do have a solid rotation with Wainwright, Westbrook, Lynn, Loesch, and Kelly. Right now Kelly is in there because Carpenter is not ready, and when Chris is, he will be inserted into that rotation. Moustakas swings and misses, and down goes KC as Jason Mott puts the finishing touches on an 8-2 Cardinal victory. Wainwright with the victory, Mendoza with the loss, and the Royals fall to 31 and 38 this year. We'll be right back. The Cardinal offense has torn apart Kansas City pitching in the first 2 games of this series. They won 11-4 last night and get another 8 runs on 16 hits this afternoon in an 8-2 triumph over Kansas City. Our Chevy player of the game, Alan Craig, who launched this home run off of Greg Holland.
He did. It was a little slider that was left out over the plate, and Alan Craig and the rest of these guys are starting to really play some ball. They're healthy. They've got their whole team back now. Outside of Chris Carpenter, their ace, their pitcher. Hopefully tomorrow is another day for the Royals to get out and get on the board first and hold that lead and get them a W here in this series at least.
It will be Lynn and Sanchez tomorrow afternoon. Coverage starts at 12:30 with the Boulevard pregame show. But Kansas City, after playing so well on the road trip, winning 4 of 6 games, comes home, and they have not played well against the St. Louis Cardinals. For Rex Hudler and Joel Goldberg and Jeff Montgomery and Tom Watson, I'm Steve Physioc saying so long from Kauffman Stadium. Stay tuned now.